Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the REC podcast, brought to you by the REC Toycast. I'm your host, Roman Chavez, and with me, as always,
Erik Icarus.
Eric.
Yes, sir.
Did you watch something interesting this week?
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
What did you watch?
The Joker.
The Joker.
Yeah.
Oh.
Todd Phillips Joker.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, I have lots to say.
You watched it too. We didn't see it together.
We did not see it together.
Nope.
No. I don't like people knowing we're in cahoots when we're out. We're out in the wild. All right. No church in the wild.
That's
okay?
right. That's right.
So this movie's been getting lots of good buzz.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, the critics, some of the critics were harsh on it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, guys, and this doesn't come from a place of anger. There was a lot of female critics. They were really panning this movie.
I heard a lot of it was because of the violence.
The violence,
and it really wasn't that much into it.
It wasn't that much. It was
not gruesome at all.
It was the violence was punctuated.
Yeah, for sure. It had its place.
It really wasn't
gratuitous in any sense. It was definitely served the story, but
yes.
But so why were they female critics bashing it?
I don't know. I think they were just the two reviews that I read that were super negative. Just basically said that this was a character that they didn't recognize. One of them even signed off by saying, and I loved it. Unfortunately, the joke was on us, and it opened really well. It opened up $93 million domestic and about 240 to 35 worldwide, which is fine, and that's really strong. It's the biggest October opening ever,
right?
Which is great for a rated R film too.
Exactly.
Now, I'm gonna go first.
Okay, go.
This movie, like I've said in previous episodes, has no business being a Joker film. That being said, it is shot beautifully. It feels, everybody keeps talking about the Taxi Driver comparison.
Yeah.
It really does feel like that. It even feels like the same time. It feels,
right.
It has that motif that on the other side of the street, what's the main character from Taxi Driver?
Oh, Travis Bickle.
With Travis is, if he's picking up somebody on the other street, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker just missed the cab on the other side. Okay? Like, that is how this movie felt. This is a love letter to Scorsese and to Travis Bickle.
Yes.
And I gotta say, the acting's phenomenal. I was bored, man.
Okay.
I was just bored.
Fair enough.
It wasn't, and honestly, being bored in a movie is not the worst thing.
Sure.
Because my big comparison is that it's like There Will Be Blood.
Okay.
Daniel Day-Lewis is amazing in There Will Be Blood. He makes that entire movie, but let's not pretend like that movie is not slow as hell. And this movie felt very slow to me.
Sure.
I think that Joaquin Phoenix is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I feel super bad for Arthur, and you want him to feel better. And I don't want that for the Joker. I don't want him to feel better.
Okay.
I don't want a reason. There should not be a reason for the Joker. And this movie, if I were in Arthur's position, I would become the Joker too.
Sure.
For me, it skewers that idea of the one bad day.
Sure.
Because this is a bunch of bad days. Because even in The Killing Joke, Jack has, even though life is tough, he's got his pregnant wife and kid on the way.
Sure.
And he can see the brighter side of it.
Of course.
And I like that, and I like the fact that he loses that when he loses them. With this, it's just this guy who keeps getting kicked in the mouth,
right.
Getting kicked in the mouth, and getting kicked in the mouth. Of course, he's gonna kill himself or do something, act out.
Sure.
Everything about it felt very. I knew the story. I was guessing every beat before it was happening.
Okay.
So there was very little. Now that's not a killer in terms of storytelling for people like us who watch a lot of movies.
Right. We recognize tropes a mile away.
Yes, we take pride in that. So that's actually not that big of a deal.
Right.
It's just, I think the movie as well as it's shot, it's acted, it's A's all around.
Mm-hmm.
But as a Joker film, it just falls flat for me. It does nothing for me for the character. Okay. I'm irritated that they even made it about the Joker, because if this movie doesn't have Joker in the title, it might not even open in every city.
No.
Nobody cares.
No, you're right.
And it'll be one of those things that it would come out during Oscar season, and everybody would be like, oh, I guess I gotta go watch this Arthur Fleck story.
Yeah.
but because it's the Joker, it got the steam it needed,
push.
which kind of falls into a theory that you and I have about. I think Todd Phillips just had this story.
yeah.
Couldn't get it made, and was like, "Oh, it's the Joker."
Yeah.
And that's how it got made. That would not shock me at all.
Same with me. I am in total agreement with that. I really think that he was writing a screenplay. This movie also draws another comparison to King of Comedy, which is another Scorsese movie.
Another Scorsese movie, and
De Niro's in that as well.
Yes,
plays the main protagonist. Which, funny enough, Joker's suit looks like De Niro's suit in that movie.
Oh, okay.
And so I always saw this movie walking out of it. Todd Phillips saw Taxi Driver, he saw King of Comedy, and smashed it together.
Okay.
So I really think Todd Phillips was trying to write an updated King of Comedy.
Yeah. Okay.
I really think that's what he was trying to do.
Okay, fair enough.
And
I've never seen King of Comedy.
Okay,
so.
it follows a lot of the same beats.
Okay.
De Niro's he's a struggling comedian who lives with his mom. He has mental illness. He's delusional. He ends up kidnapping the host of a late night talk show who makes fun of his set.
Oh my gosh. Gee, yeah. Okay.
So I mean, there's homage and then there's straight theft.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, yeah, he kind of stole a little bit.
He's biting hard. He's biting hard.
Big time.
Okay, see, I didn't know that. And honestly, that makes me irritated even more, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I think he took the grit and feel of Taxi Driver and the outsider persona of Travis, and then he took pretty much the outline of King of Comedy and worked the Joker angle into it. Having said that, I love this movie.
Okay.
I am, again, I'm with you. It didn't need to be a Joker movie.
Yes.
It really didn't. Man.
Yes.
But I'm glad it was.
Okay.
I am not as close to the source material as the rest of you and the other guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I enjoy comic books, but I was able to look at this as an Elseworld tale.
Yeah.
Like, which I think we've all been kind of clamoring for. Why doesn't DC just do one-offs? And I was okay with it because, again, spoilers, kids.
Yes.
Hardcore spoilers.
Yeah,
I'm going into them right now.
I mean, yeah, if you have not watched it, stop this. Go watch it and come back because let's have a dialogue about it. Because
this movie's divided.
It's not as divisive as I thought it was going to be, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
Finish your thought.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
When I watched this movie, I knew you were going to love it.
Yeah,
this was totally an Erik movie. It's not a bad film. It's a bad Joker movie, and I will continue to say that. It's not a good Joker movie.
For sure.
And I will argue with that with anybody, and I'm not going to take anybody's side on this. It's not a good Joker movie. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was okay with it being a joke because back into we want an Elseworld tale. Mm-hmm. But then, because you got to remember, he doesn't really have an identity anyway. Because remember, he's adopted.
Mm-hmm.
So he sort of keeps his anonymity. He's not really Arthur Fleck, man. Mm-hmm. So I was okay with it.
Yeah.
I was okay with this as a Joker, quote unquote, origin story, one-off, whatever. This, to me, would be like if who's written a Joker story? Just a one-off.
Oh, Alan Moore.
Okay, fair enough.
Killing Joke.
This would be like reading a Killing Joke.
Yeah.
This is how I'm looking at it, which had an origin story.
Yes.
And remember, he even says in Killing Joke, I like to have multiple choice for my origins. Mm-hmm. I think that lends itself to this movie too, because there are points in there where you find out that the love interest in this movie. He has a relationship with this woman. And it turns out he doesn't. Yeah. It's completely just not
mile away.
Yeah.
I leaned into Duke and I was like, she's not really doing this.
So I was okay. Again, this is showing that he's tortured, but man, I don't even know where to start with this. Again, I'm going to check off the points you said: shot beautifully, acted beautifully, mm-hmm. written beautifully. And I'm okay with it being a Joker movie. Just an Elseworld one-off Joker movie.
Yeah.
Diving into psychology and mental illness.
I think the movie's
handling of mental illness.
I think it's a fantastic movie about mental illness.
Yes.
I really do. I love the scenes with Arthur and the psychiatrist.
Right.
I think but again, I don't like and fortunately I've grown up in a place where I haven't had to deal with a lot of strife, but I have a hard time believing that there's parts of this country that are just bad all the time. I know that there are.
Sure.
And I get that there are.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I can't relate to that.
Yeah.
And it feels unbelievable. And I'm not trying to offend anybody who's listening who do go through strife and it did grow up rough and in a neighborhood where you couldn't even feel like you could get a foothold.
Right.
But it's not a story that I'm familiar with, so it doesn't feel real to me.
Okay.
So all of that stuff feels so out there, like it can't happen to me, which shows you my soft upbringing, I guess. But I couldn't relate to it except talking to a psychiatrist. I've spoken to psychiatrists before and everything like that. So I did really enjoy that stuff.
Oh, yeah. And I think I did enjoy this. We don't have to get too hardcore into this, but, I suffer from mental illness. I don't mind talking. I'm pretty open about it. And I really thought, I was reading online, there was a lot of backlash from people with mental illness. They were trivializing it. I'm like, no, they weren't. They were showing what can happen to someone when they're taken off their meds just prematurely or just lobbed off their meds.
Yeah.
It shows that, mental illness is still a stigma in this country.
Yes.
People still don't understand it. I don't even understand it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just, again, we don't have to get too hardcore into it, but, you're told you have this thing. And then all of a sudden, you're throwing on 50 different medications for it.
Just to see what sticks.
And then you feel worse.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, which again that's what I was going through. Then I started exercising, eating better. I got off almost all of my meds because of that. Yeah. So again, I'm not saying that Arthur Fleck, maybe he did do something with his life.
Joker, eat a little broccoli, brother. You feel a lot better.
That's what I'm saying. But he didn't kill himself. He was proactive with his mental illness.
Oh gosh, yeah. He turned it into a weapon.
Yes, he did, and I was okay with it. Again, I'm going to talk real quick. My favorite scene in this movie,
Please.
And we're jumping. We might be jumping around a little, but it's fine because that movie did this too.
Yes.
So we're going to be like the movie. It was the scene after he murders the people on the subway, the guys.
Yeah. Which was an excellent scene.
Great.
I really enjoyed it. And on a side note,
go ahead.
I like the idea of him having that issue where he laughs.
Which is a real
yes, it's a real thing. I think that's interesting. It's just not interesting for me for the Joker.
Fair enough.
Because I like the fact that in the comic books, like Joker, because of the chemicals, he has kind of a Rictus grin.
Yes.
So he's not. Like, he doesn't mean to smile. He just is smiling. He's a smiling shark.
Yeah,
and it's unsettling. But this is interesting. But I didn't like how he couldn't. It would have been nice to see him more. We got some of it, but to see him more like fighting and crying while laughing.
There you go.
Like that stuff would have been.
That would have been pretty awesome, to be honest with you. But it was okay. So after he murders those people on the subway, he runs back to the apartment building and he walks into his love interest. So I always forget her name.
Zazie Beetz.
Yeah, he walks into her apartment, goes there for comfort, and they make love. And obviously they didn't.
Yeah.
So what I'm taking from that is that he got a sexual thrill from murdering those people.
That's a good way to think about it.
So that's how I saw that scene. I thought that was a brilliant little
sexual thrill. Sexual thrill.
Or not even necessarily sexual. He got a thrill out of it.
Yeah.
Like that's how he was able to purge himself in a way. I'm not trying to be gross, but that's kind of what it was.
That's a fantastic way to look at it. I agree with you completely. Yeah. That's exactly what he did. He got a sexual thrill off of it. Yeah. So in his mind, going to have sex with a woman is what that he equated that to. I totally see that.
Yes.
I totally see that.
And that was my favorite scene, but it was a favorite scene in a lot of good scenes. And I think the movie, it just captured what this character was. Again, you're right, it didn't have to be a Joker movie.
That's my big problem.
And it could have and I would have enjoyed it probably just as much if it was just Arthur Fleck. Or Fleck. They just called it Fleck.
Yeah.
And I would have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And what's cool is Todd Phillips, he's a comedy director.
Yes.
And most people don't know he started out as a documentarian.
I did not know that.
Okay. He did a documentary on this singer, G.G. Allen, who was a punk rocker. He was like the punk rocker of punk rockers. He would get naked on stage, crap in his hand, throw his crap at people in the audience. He would cut himself. He would go in the audience and start fighting people. Just fighting people. So it's interesting to see him film this mentally ill person. G.G. Allen was clearly mentally ill. And I'm wondering how much of that experience he was able to bring into this.
It sounds like a lot, just based off what you're saying in terms of just being on that edge, but like not having the filter, not having the little bit of restraint that even Arthur had. Like Arthur tries to get well.
He does.
He's seeing the psychiatrist. He's like, hey, can you up my meds?
Right.
You know, like he's trying. See that, and I think I don't like that part to it either, because you do want Arthur to be better.
Sure.
And he isn't able to be, and then he becomes a Joker. But like I keep saying, and I can't reiterate enough, I don't want to feel bad for the Joker.
Right.
So
did you feel bad for him in Killing Joke? I'm just trying to say this because you like the Killing Joke.
I love the Killing Joke.
But it makes you feel bad for the Joker.
I didn't feel bad for the Joker when his wife and kid died. I don't. It's weird. Yeah, I didn't. I didn't because he was still just like so weak, and then gets kind of bullied into doing this thing.
Right.
And then Batman kicks him into the vat or falls in the vat or whatever. And it's just, yeah, dude. I don't know. And maybe it's just something wrong with me.
Sure.
But yeah, it just
everyone knows you love Joker.
He's your main
man. He's your main man.
But this. Good movie, yeah, not a good Joker movie.
And, it's interesting. I just thought of this because you talked about Killing Joke. This movie, and again with also bringing up Batman, 1989, Tim Burton's Batman, chemicals. Mm-hmm. This movie has to do with chemicals, whether being pushed into chemicals or not getting enough chemicals regulated in your brain.
That's cool.
I just thought about that. That's a cool way to look at it. It still has to deal with chemicals, but I will talk about the things I didn't like.
Yes. And let me guess one of them.
Sure, go ahead.
The illegitimate son of Wayne. Jesus Christ.
But
go ahead.
That was he probably made that up in his head. But it was kind of dumb. That's how I'm able to make this so... Yeah, because I'm like, okay, how much of this... And again, this movie is going to... I'm going to have to rewatch it a few times. Because I'm going to say, okay, what was a delusion?
Yeah.
What was real? Was any of it real?
Yeah.
You know, because at the very end, you get that. I really wish at the end they would have just cut it off because, he's in Arkham at the end. And he's talking to a psychiatrist who looks like the psychiatrist from the beginning of the movie. So I'm wondering how much of this was in his head because I'm wondering if he's trying to...
Like if the psychiatrist wasn't there either?
Yeah. But obviously he's in Arkham.
Yeah.
That part is true.
Mm-hmm.
And... it makes you wonder because he's always had a problem with the Waynes because Penny worked for the Waynes, and I'm wondering if some of this was just a revenge fantasy because the coolest line in the movie is when he's laughing at the end and the psychiatrist says, "What are you laughing at?" It's all just a joke, and she's like, "Well, can you tell me it?" And he's like, "Oh, you wouldn't get it."
Yeah.
She's like, "What do you mean?" So it's just between me and him, meaning because Bruce's parents were murdered in the melee, the riot.
Yeah.
So it's almost like he's laughing because he, had them killed.
Yeah.
So in a way he directly creates Batman. Again, 1989 Batman comparison.
Yeah. Oh, don't like that either.
Yeah, so I wish they would have just cut it off right there. It's between me and him.
Yeah.
Because obviously he knows that Bruce's parents were murdered.
Yeah.
But then they end it with him running through the hallways with blood all over him and then his orderlies chasing him. Didn't need that scene. Just end it with the ominous, like, it's between me and him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one scene I didn't like. I didn't care for it. I didn't need Bruce in that, honestly. Though. Didn't really need it. It was cool.
It's a creepy scene.
It was
creepy scene.
I like it was cool.
That intro, the intro with him, like, I love that, where he's trying to make himself smile and the tear comes down. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a great scene. A lot of great stuff about this movie.
Cool about that scene, and I'm sure everyone's already made this comparison. It's like the drama masks. Mm-hmm. The laughing and the crying. Oh man! Again,
tragedy and comedy.
Yeah, Todd Phillips he's got an eye. It's amazing seeing someone who directed Old School, Starsky and Hutch, doing this.
Yeah,
it's in Hangover,
and it shows you how close. Just looking at him and now how he tells the story, how close tragedy and comedy are together.
It's what that old saying is: all comedy is tragedy plus time. That's all it is, man. And that's a really funny saying, and it rings true.
Yeah.
I mean, when something awful happens to you, if you survive it, 6 months later, you're laughing about it.
Yeah.
In the moment, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, people who know me, I have a pretty dark sense of humor. I'll make fun of anything.
Yeah.
And especially if it's awful.
Yeah.
If I can make someone laugh at it, it sort of takes takes the darkness away from it. You know, it's if you can laugh at something, it's, you know, it doesn't hang over you as much.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know, man. Again, I really loved this movie.
Yeah.
It was a good character study on mental illness.
So, okay, you love this movie. Here's why. Here's exactly why it's not a good Joker movie.
Okay.
Because you would love this movie if it was just the Arthur Fleck story.
Oh, for sure.
It would
Absolutely.
have nothing to do with no face paint, no nothing. You would be just as fine with it. Whereas, if you saw The Dark Knight, but it wasn't a Batman movie,
right.
I don't think you'd like it as much.
That's a good point.
And just the royal we.
Yeah, I know what you
Like,
mean.
we wouldn't
Yeah.
like it as much if it wasn't Batman.
Right.
If it was the same treatment, cut the ears off, and it's Christian Bale in a suit of some kind.
Sure.
We wouldn't like it as much.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
That's just what I think.
That's a very good point.
And I think that this movie is a great movie without it being the Joker.
Sure.
And I think that it'll forever skew what it could have been because it is a Joker film.
Fair enough. I'm with you on that in a sense. Because, I really think Todd Phillips had a really interesting script, couldn't get it sold. And then someone's like, you know what? This sounds pretty... I really think he saw someone with that disorder, the laughing disorder.
Yeah.
He probably saw someone and said, wow, that's cool. I want to write a screenplay about this. And then he probably shopped it around, and one of his buddies was probably, you know what? This could be kind of a cool Joker movie.
Yeah.
And then he probably said, light bulb.
Yeah.
And that's how he pitched it. And they're like, okay, Leto didn't do well. Let's bring Joaquin up.
Yeah.
You know, then DC just said, screw it. This is a one-off.
Yeah.
And whatever. And again, it's going to be funny, and time will tell.
Yeah.
If he wins an Oscar for this. And it's going to be like, wow, Joker is going to be the new Oscar bait.
Yeah.
Because how hilarious would that be,
If
dude?
Joker gets 2 Oscars, yeah, that would be.
And this wouldn't even be a supporting Oscar. This would be
this would be best actor.
Yeah.
Which
I think it's worthy. I think it's
completely.
Yeah.
It's some of the best acting I've seen ever.
Joaquin, I really want to know how off he is in real life.
Yeah.
Because there's some of that you can't fake.
I don't know, man. He seems pretty normal, but he does weird things. And I think that's how he gets it
pretty
out.
Eccentric. Yeah.
I think he gets it out there like that way.
Sure.
Because he's married to.
He's one that's
I think actually Casey Affleck.
Casey Affleck
is
is
Phoenix.
they were married at one point.
Oh,
I don't know. They might have divorced at some
Okay.
point, but I don't know. It's I really don't want a sequel.
No.
But dude, it's already at $300 million, middle October.
It wouldn't shock me if this movie has one of the biggest drop-offs from week 1 to week 2.
Okay.
It wouldn't shock me. I'll be more shocked if it doesn't. The average movie will drop between 30% and 40%.
Sure.
So
unless you're Avengers.
Unless you're Avengers. But even then again, even if you're Avengers and you drop off by half, you still made $250 million for the weekend. It's that's just a horse of a different color.
For sure. Do you think this? Just speaking out of the box here, do you think this Joker would have fit in this DCU?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
You don't think he? Okay. Say we pull out Leto and we put Joaquin in there, and we have it. This movie doesn't exist. We take this character, this Joker, and put him in that movie. You don't think it'd work?
Nah. I don't.
What do you think?
Because the Joker in the comics, the Joker's tough.
Right.
He's tough. He's not going to win in a fight against the Batman hand to hand. But what is he always doing? Always bringing him closer.
Right.
Always So it's. Yeah, this does not work in the comics. When Todd Phillips did say publicly, comic book fans will not like this movie.
That's a bit didactic. I think that's a bit insulting as well.
It is, because all the comic book fans that I've seen on Instagram, the ones that I follow and that follow me, they all seem to really enjoy it.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm the only one.
Yeah, you're the minority here, man. But I have heard people say
I'm a real comic book fan. Check out our previous episode on Fair Weather Fans.
Yeah.
The movie is solid. So I hope it does well. I hope Joaquin does get nominated.
For sure.
There's no way he doesn't.
Yeah,
I don't think
at least a nod.
If he doesn't get a nod, then
there's something's up.
Then it's completely. It would be completely stupid.
Oh, for sure.
For this film not to get even a Best Director nod. It's a beautiful film.
It's shot so well. It's so you can tell that it's an intimate movie with very little CGI.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell some of the backdrop was CGI'd and all that stuff. But
get that 70s kind of motif.
For sure. I think it was 81.
Oh, did they actually give it a year?
I believe it's 81.
Okay.
And funny enough, Taxi Driver comes out in 77. So it's right there.
Yeah.
King of Comedy comes out 82-ish. So it's pretty funny. Again, a love letter to Scorsese, obviously. I mean, some of the shots are very, quote-unquote, Scorsese influenced, if not just ripped off completely.
Were you paying attention at all to the news this week about Scorsese?
What did he do?
He kind of came out and kind of panned comic book movies in general. He's like, I've tried to watch them. He's like, I can't really get through them. It's not art. It's not art. Yeah.
Okay. I get not
cinema. Sorry, not cinema. Yeah. And so
my respect for him just kind of dropped a little bit.
It's funny. He literally says this on the weekend that it looks like Scorsese did a comic book movie. So it's just kind of it's weird timing. But
that's really
Spielberg's been that way too. James Cameron's been that way.
Those two essentially make comic book movies.
Those guys were the comic book movies before there were comic movies.
Right.
They turned the industry on the head with their bizarre ideas. And at least to Cameron's credit, he's like they're amazing films. He's like there's different stories to tell. And it's like, like Dances with Wolves and Fern Gully. Piece of crap.
I know, God. I mean, how is he going to say that when most of his movies are so unoriginal?
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. Yeah, you had Terminator. True Lies rocks, too.
Yeah, True Lies does rock, yeah.
And Spielberg, I mean, I haven't liked a movie of his since Green Mile.
Yeah.
Or did he do Road to Perdition?
I think he did Road to Perdition.
I love that movie.
Which is a comic movie. But I don't know if he did it. I can't remember.
That's a good point. But James Cameron was set to direct Spider-Man at one point, so screw him, man, and screw Scorsese.
And
for
like I said,
that, dude.
Cameron was the least egregious
judgment,
in his thing.
But screw Scorsese. That is. It's one thing to say you don't appreciate. You can say I don't appreciate, or I can say I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's not my thing. Yeah. But to publicly say something isn't art that is completely touching people on personal levels, man. Yeah. These movies do resonate with people, and that I don't know. That's a bit.
It was strange to see an auteur do something like that
of his caliber, downplaying these movies that are making so much money and affecting pop or culture in general.
Yep.
So
just as they did before them.
Yeah.
And it was fun because like James Gunn came out and was like, "Hey, I'm a huge Scorsese fan." He's like, "But I'm paraphrasing, vehemently disagree."
Yeah.
He's like, he was talking about this, and then Joss came out and was like, "Scorsese, one of the greatest ever.
Yeah.
I love all of his movies." He's like, and I loved how Joss did it. He even talked about himself. He's like, to say that these aren't cinema tells me you didn't watch Guardians of the Galaxy. like Joss was talking about just like how beautiful and how you can tell James took care with the look, with the sound, with the feel. Like Joss was just straight up, filleting James Gunn.
James Gunn,
and just saying that while everybody's free to have their opinion, like to say that these films aren't cinema is ridiculous.
Sure. Sure.
And just a very interesting coincidence for the week.
Yeah, that's still. In terms of Joker, I'm just going to say I loved it. I'm going to have to rewatch it again.
I will
pieces. I'm like, I got to rewatch that.
I need to watch it when I'm not super tired either. Like
I
was very tired, and
not
not that it would change my view of the film, but it's not conducive to a slow character building movie.
Sure,
does not. An Avengers movie every 10 to 15 minutes.
Pop.
Boom.
Yep.
Boom. And, so it gets that adrenaline wrong.
Sure.
And don't get me wrong, when that subway scene happens, when he kills those three guys, I was like, that was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome. But, I don't know. I needed something else. It's not the origin that I want, nor the one I feel we deserve.
Sure. And which I don't think it was trying to be. I think it was just...
I agree. I don't think Todd was like, hey, guys, this is the Joker.
No. Todd had an interesting script. And
I respect that, and like I said, I don't hate the movie. If you're listening and you hadn't watched it, go watch it.
Yeah,
because it's awesome.
It's a good movie.
It's just not for me.
There you go, and that's great.
Yeah, it's just not for me in terms of like I'm gonna watch it again, and I'm sure I'll enjoy it.
Sure.
I'm sure I'll enjoy it more.
Yeah,
but
again,
objectively, comic book. No, subjectively because of comics.
Sure,
It's
right. That's what I
hit
say.
me.
Closer to the character, I get it, man.
Objectively, it's the best movie I've seen all year.
There you go.
Know, like,
boom.
Like just in terms of how it's shot. I know I'm giving a lot of mixed signals, guys.
No, that's great. This movie provokes that.
It does.
That's what's the beauty of this movie, because you don't know how to feel about Arthur.
Yeah.
You can feel bad for him, but then there's also times where you're like, man, there's other ways to handle that, you know?
The reason I don't feel bad for the Joker and the Killing Joke is because in the book, he also shoots Barbara while we're getting his story. So he's doing something horrible at that moment as well.
Yeah.
While we're getting his origin story, her spine is severed.
And other awful things.
Yes. So that's exactly why I don't feel bad for Jack in that story.
And then Arthur, he doesn't have a scene like that. He's almost a vigilante in a way.
But I like it when he's like, "Hey, I didn't do that for anybody. They just couldn't carry a tune."
Yeah.
Which that's probably the most Joker
thing to say.
So yes, there are.
I thought the knock joke was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that one.
There is some Joker moments.
Yeah. De Niro, I mean, this is the best role he's done in a long time. He's been doing these stupid, trashy comedies, which again, I know everything's subjective, but those are horrible, and it's tainting his image.
Yeah.
And it's finally someone threw him something like, and he probably read the script like, oh yeah, this is King of Comedy.
Well, him and Scorsese got The Irishman coming out on Netflix.
Yeah, that's right.
If it's not out now, it's coming out soon.
Yeah.
Which is funny because then Spielberg was talking about last year how Netflix movies and Amazon stuff shouldn't be up for Oscar consideration. Yeah. It's so weird to see these guys go into the belly and change.
Yes.
They were fringe.
At some point,
yeah.
Now the fringe for them is the center. So it's hilarious to see them. They can't adapt to the times.
Yeah.
And people get old, man.
It stinks. But, you said you haven't liked a Spielberg thing in a long time. I still love Spielberg's work, and Scorsese's as well. So
yeah, me too.
I'm glad that they're still pumping out, but Scorsese himself, he does the same trick most of the time.
Every director's got their thing.
Yeah.
But his tricks are limited, whereas Spielberg has a lot of tricks. Cameron has lots of tricks.
Although I'll give him Shutter Island. Shutter Island. If you didn't tell me Scorsese directed it, I wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed.
Me either, dude.
So, but yeah, for the most part, these guys.
Didn't he do that Hugo movie too?
He did do Hugo. Yeah. Yeah.
That looked like a Spielberg movie.
Yeah, because Spielberg did Tintin with Jackson. From the Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
So where does Joaquin rate on your Joker scale? Can't beat the Heath, man.
You can't beat.
I don't know. I'm gonna rewatch this, but Heath set the template for this.
Yes.
Man. So to say that Joaquin's was better, it may have been in a way, but he wouldn't have that drive if not for Heath.
It doesn't take anything away nor add. He doesn't take anything away or add anything to my idea of the Joker.
Okay.
His performance is just very good, but it doesn't. Heath's has been the most interesting and complex. And again, I still like Leto's. And I'm the only one who likes Leto's. Nobody likes Leto for some reason.
I hated it initially, but having rewatched Suicide Squad, I get what you were saying.
Yeah.
He's menacing. He's like a shark, like you said.
Yeah.
He's like a shark. And if it weren't for those tattoos, man, it's aesthetically it kills him.
He'd look even scarier with the tattoos.
Seriously, he would.
He'd look like a ghost.
Yeah.
Still, give him the hot purple hair.
Sure.
That's fine.
That's great.
Give him that weird dress. Or the way he was dressing.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with that. But the tattoos just
kind of ruined it, man. But
unless he just had one tattoo that just had Harley on it.
Sure.
But yeah, it's an amazing performance. It's the weakest I've ever felt the Joker was.
Yeah. Oh, and I think that was meant. It was meant.
Yeah.
But again,
I don't see this guy
tangling with
Batman.
No.
And which is a big part of that character.
For sure.
If Batman doesn't have the Joker, Batman's not as interesting, and vice versa.
Wow, that's a good point.
Joker doesn't work as a Superman villain. Joker.
He didn't. Kind of not really.
Yeah.
Injustice, that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he didn't really. Well, you're right because he didn't last.
Yeah. No.
He didn't make it.
Now he can be there with Lex, like, hey, you need to distract. Like, he's a great distraction.
Oh no, dude!
For
What was
Superman.
that cool thing? You told me this cool story where there was like 2 Lexes and one Lex did. Yeah.
So
this is the coolest Joker thing I've ever.
So in the story Infinite Crisis, we have an Alexander Luthor, so a Lex from another universe, kind of corralling all the villains into doing his bidding, and he's saying that he's the Lex of our world, but he does not invite the Joker in. Craziness ensues. Spoilers. It's revealed that he's not the real Lex Luthor, and it is this great scene where the Royal Flush Gang, yes, the Royal Flush Gang, just low-rung supervillains, are like also in this imposter Lex's like
gang almost.
Yeah, gang.
Yeah.
And Joker's got King by the throat, and he's like, everybody gets to play. He's like, everybody, even you guys. Why wasn't I invited to the party? And the King says, he's like, everybody knows Joker's too wild. Which I thought was great.
That's funny.
And then Joker pulls his gun out and says, that's not funny, and kills him.
Oh, man.
And as he's walking out of the room, you see Queen, and there's like a chihuahua shoved down her throat. Everybody's dead. Everybody's dead. And at the end, when this fake Lex is, and he still is a Lex, but the alternate Lex, he's like, all right, they found him out. He's kind of on the run, and he's like reading the newspaper, and they're talking about how his plan failed. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna regroup. I'm gonna get back together. And he's like going down this hallway or alley, and you just start hearing laughing. You just start hearing laughing, and then you just see acid get thrown on his face, and our Lex comes out and is like, you think you're pretty smart. You've done all of these things, but you forgot one thing. You didn't let the Joker have his fun. And the Joker's like in the alley with him, and Alexander's pleading for his life, and Joker just shoots him in the face. And Lex looks down at him, and he's like, "Now who's stupid?" and walks off. And it's just this weird like alliance between the Joker and Lex Luthor is just awesome.
Yeah, it is like an uneasy truce almost, but they kind of respect each other.
Yes,
but
and it's still very much a weird, dirty mirror image of what Bruce and Clark have.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's very true, man.
So. Yeah, it's an awesome thing. I love hardcore Joker stuff.
Yes.
When Joker is ice cold, man, he is the most ice cold.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd change about him is his love for Harley.
Yeah.
I really think that it would make that character more interesting if he genuinely loved her and then she leaves.
Yes.
Like that, where she's just like, I don't want to be a part of this craziness anymore.
Right.
And where like it bothers him.
Yeah.
And that's my only issue with the character, so...
Yeah. That's the Joker you love.
Yes.
The one I love as well. And I remember you telling me about that, and I was like, oh, God, that's so cool.
Yeah.
But that is not the Joker we get.
No.
And it's okay. I'm okay with it. I'm okay that it's a Joker movie, but I loved it. And, again, it's this performance is going up there with De Niro's Travis Bickle. It's going up there from Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler. Which I always thought was a kind of a sister movie to Taxi Driver.
Super underrated film.
Oh, yeah. And so, I loved it.
Kids, go out and watch it. Tell us what you think.
Yes.
That has been our show today, the Joker review. If you like what we're doing, please hit the subscribe button. Give us a like. Leave a comment. I know I'm going to be the bad guy in this story, and I'm fine with that. Tell me why you liked the movie, or tell me why you didn't. Let's hear more of that. And again, it's not that the movie's bad. It's just I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Eric, what did you learn today?
Man, I think I need to read Infinite Crisis.
Oh God, you'll love it. You'll love it.
I need to.
I'll get you some Infinite Crisis.
Sweet.
Stuff. I learned that for the first time, maybe not the first time, but just because of the subject matter, I'm very divided on this movie internally.
Yeah.
I feel very two-faced about it. It's like it is a good film, but it just doesn't work for me as that character.
Sure.
It would be like seeing Travis Bickle in a comedy. Where he's actually funny.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll be alright with that.
All right. Well, fair enough.
I'm just crazy. I'm a crazy person.
Guys, you can check us out at REC Podcast on Instagram. Shoot us a DM if there's something you want to talk about, something you think that we should talk about.
Yeah.
And I have been your host, Roman Chavez.
Still Eric Icarus.
And we will catch you next time.